if you're clicking on this video, obviously, Gimmick Nightmare is good. Like it's insane. It still might even be the optimal way to play with Expulsion and with Branded and Master Duel. But I've just been testing a few lines and coming up with a few combos using Expulsion that don't involve Gimmick Nightmare, and I still play a build that uses Expulsion without Nightmare in it, and it's still insane. The Expulsion consistently provides me the most disruptions on my end board, and I still go for it most of the time. So, yeah, the reason that I want to show this first combo off in DB because I want to highlight an interaction that I never got to pull off in ranked. My opponents never got that far, but trust me, it'll be worth. It'll be well worth the wait to get there. So, his hand is the setups involve Aluber, Brand Fusion, and a Bystial, and 3 blanks in hand. So start with Aluber to get Branded Fusion, obviously. These are primarily going to be with the Rinbrum line. So you'll Branded Fusion, dump Mercurier and Albas. Special summon Rinbrum. Then special Saronir, banishing Mercurier. And Mercurier will trigger to add us our Cartasia. Special Cartasia because we control an Albaz engrave. And Cartasia effect fuse itself and Aluber for a Grand Guignol. And this is the one way to do this line where you declare Grand Guignol effect to dump Sprind from your extra deck to your grave. And with this line, I've using, if you saw my combo video, I showed the Branded and White line. I've started out changing my line to instead of using Branded and Red or Branded and White, we're using Sprind to add to summon Kit from on an end phase. So use Kit or end phase, use Sprind. Sprind will special summon Kit. And Kit effect will add us Branded in Red. And we'll put back a card. So with Branded in Red, it's actually really important. Because we're going to use, in the end phase, still in the end phase, Branded in Red, get back Aluber to hand. And we're going to make Mirror Jade directly with the Grand Guignol and the Albaz we just added. Special summon the Mirror Jade. Now we do lose the Grand Guignol. We won't be able to use this to special summon a Despia monster from our extra deck, but it's fine. This is like the least reliable form of disruption, since all it can really summon is Coritis, which is like a floating effect pretty much, and Proskenion, which only is like graveyard disruption for extra deck monsters, and you ideally would want to interact with the grave before they get that far. But what's important about this is now the Albaz that was in a grave is now banished. So now we declare Mirror Jade effect still in the end phase. Send Albion to grave. Negate Mirror Jade with Rinbrum. Rinbrum will return the Saronir to our hand. We can add Cartasia back to our hand as well, since a fusion was sent to the grave, and then Albion effect. We will set Expulsion from our deck. So with this setup, we have Mirror Jade and Rinbrum. During our opponent's turn, let's say we can use any of either of our 2 fusion of monsters effects. Let's say we use a Mirror Jade. Then after that, you can sack off Mirror Jade for Expulsion, and you can summon back both Albaz and Mercurier from your banished pile to your side of the field. And the cool thing about this is, this is an Expulsion, you're special summoning from the banished pile. So this completely plays around your opponent's Bystial monsters, and it completely plays around Called by the Grave. And when you summon this, you can trigger Albaz's effect to fuse with your opponent's monsters. And Tri-Brigade Mercurier, its monster effect negate, you can use while it's on the field or in hand. So you can send this to your hand because you still control a Rinbrim. So with that, you have, for disruptions counts, you have the Mirror Jade as a banish, you have Rinbrim's effect as a disruption, you have Albaz fusing with your opponent's monster, you have a Tri-Brigade Mercurier, and let's say you fuse with your opponent's light or dark monster, right? You can then, Albaz would then go into something like, say, a Lubellion. If they played a dark monster, you can trigger Lubellion's effect, discarding a card, and then go send back Mirror Jade and Albaz to the deck, or out Lubellion and Albaz to the deck, and you can make a second Mirror Jade, and then add Mirror Jade is live again, so like that's another disruption. It's like infinite disruptions for your opponent's monsters. So let's move back a little, add this back to our hand, set this to the field again, special this back. Oops. And these are both banished. And the interaction I really wanted to show with this is specifically for evenly matched. This completely destroys evenly matched, like you have never seen before. So obviously the very obvious way to play around evenly with Expulsion is if your opponent enters battle phase, like you could literally just activate Expulsion when they enter battle phase, tribute one of your fusion monsters, let's say Rinbrim. So then special summon Albaz, or special summon one of these monsters to your field, let's say Albaz, and special the Mercurier to our opponent's field. And then that just blocks them off from summoning, from using evenly matched right there. And then they wasted their battle phase for nothing. So that's one way to deal with it. However, the more Giga Chad way to do it, and I think the personal more optimal way to deal with it is, say your opponent enters battle phase, and then you wait for them to activate evenly matched. Okay. So let's say they activate evenly matched, then you activate Brand Expulsion, chaining to the evenly matched. You sack your Rinbrim. You special Albaz on your side of the field and Mercurier on your opponent's side of the field. Your opponent now controls 2 cards, which means you get to keep, at the resolution of evenly matched, you get to keep 2 cards. So you can banish the Expulsion face down. We don't need this anymore. You can banish the kid. It's already done this job. Okay, so evenly resolves and then evenly goes to the grave. On a new chain, you activate Albaz's effect, discard a card, fuse Albaz and with the Mercurier that you just gave them into Lubellion. Because Lubellion requires a dark and a fallen Albaz versus Mercurier and fallen Albaz, you declare Lubellion's effect, discard your other blank card in your hand. And then make a shuffle back any dark monster you want. Let's put back the Albion from last turn. And put back the Lubellion on the field. Make a Dragos Apilia. So post evenly matched, you're now left with still a live Mirror Jade and a Dragos Apilia. Then, anytime you're in opponent's main phase, the Fallen of Albaz you fused with is now in your grave, so you can trigger Rinbrim's effect. Banish the Albaz. And special summon itself back. So, their evenly matched that they used, and gave up their battle phase for, ended. What did that accomplish? Through the evenly match, you still ended with a live Mirror Jade a Dragos Apilia, and a live Rimbrum. All of these still have their effects to use. And, you know, if they had a bluff, if they enter battle phase just to bluff, you waited it out, then they didn't even do anything. But yeah, basically, evenly matched does not affect your expulsion plays at all. In fact, like this is this is a full board essentially. 3 interruptions, 3 fusions. Yeah, seems pretty good, right? Now I'll show you some more ways that I've used expulsion on Master Duel. Okay, so this is another setup I used with Brand Expulsion. This time we have Aluber and Saronir again. So Aluber will add us our Brand Fusion. We'll activate Brand Fusion. This part's the same. Make Rimbrum. Banish Mercurier with Saronir. Our opponent's gonna Ghost Spell. We're just gonna pretend that interaction that doesn't happen. You know, call by a balance card. Just delete any opponent's interaction they have on their turn. Okay, so Rimbrum specials itself. Mercurier banishes, effect, add Cartasia, special Cartasia. And this is a separate. I'm gonna be doing a different line. You're using Cartasia's effect. We're gonna fuse instead of the Aluber. We're gonna fuse with the Saronir. So this won't end with a Saronir in hand. Instead, this preserves Sprind in the extra deck. You won't have to send Sprind with this. Now, why would you want to preserve Sprind? Well, you'll see later. With this line, Saronir will activate, and Saronir will send Retribution to the grave, and then Grand Guignol will send Albion to the grave. Albion will shovel itself back to dump Brand in red, and then you Retribution add back the Brand in red. So this is the way to get Brand in red without dumping Sprind. Then you Brand in red back to Albaz, obviously. Banish the Grand Guignol, and banish the Albaz to get the Mirror Jade. And Mirror Jade, dump Albion, Rimbrum will negate. And then you get the Expulsion set on the end phase. And you get the Cartasia back to hand. So our opponent, we're gonna Maxi, opponent's gonna call by the grave. Now here's the dumb thing, okay? Brand Expulsion it's essentially also a graveyard interruption, right? So you can just get stuff out of the graveyard. So if I really wanted to, I could just flip this right now, sack my Rimbrum, and then summon back my Maxi and just dodge the called by on the Maxi and resolve it. I was really desperate. But, you know, I'm not. I figured I have enough disruption without the Maxi anyway, so I can let them use this called by the grave. Our opponents on Sprite, they're gonna normal summon Beaver. We have the Ash, so I'm just gonna full tilt. I'm gonna Ash their Beaver. They're gonna chain Starter. So now they've used all their extenders. You're gonna use Mirror Jade, banish the Beaver, and then you're gonna chain Expulsion, sack the Mirror Jade, summoning back both Albaz and Mercurier. So there goes the Beaver. And now they're gonna special summon a monster. So our opponent's actually smart, because they saw that we targeted Albaz, right? So if they said summon something like a Sprite Blue or a Sprite Jet, I would have fused it off for a Lubellion. So they summoned Sprite Red as possibly a target that's hard to fuse with. However, if you notice, we kept Sprind in the extra. And the materials for Sprind are Fallen of Albaz and 1 effect monster special summon this turn. So if you do this line and you maintain Sprind in the extra deck, then you can essentially fusion summon Albaz, the Albaz you summon back from the Expulsion, you can fuse with basically any special summon monster your opponent has. Including a Sprite Red, which is not something you would expect to be fusion material. And after all that, we still have a Rimbrum that hasn't used its effect, and we still have a Tri-Brigade Mercurier that can negate another monster effect since we control Rimbrum. And they've already used a normal summon and they've used Start. So yeah. It's 2 more interruptions for 2 cards in hand. Okay, so this hand, as you can see, is all gas. This is a combo. This is just like the bullying combo, like the full-on flex on my opponent. You're gonna start with branded opening. Obviously, we're good players, so we have the Altamaxi. Get the Aluber. Dump the Saronir, by the way. Because we dumped the Saronir with opening, now we can send Lubellion to the grave. So that's just another layer. Add the Brand Fusion to hand. Activate Brand Fusion. Go into Rinbrum. Then banish Mercurial with Druid's Worm. Mercurial will add back Cartasia. Sack the Druid's Worm. Get back to Lubellion. Lubellion will get us Brand and lost before we use Cartasia to fusion summon. Then we're gonna fusion summon with Cartasia. And then get a search off Lost after making the Grand Guignol. Well, with Lost, we add the kit to our hand directly. And then Grand Guignol will dump Albion. Special kit. Kit will add us Branded in red. Put back the Mercurial, doesn't matter, we already have one banished. Brand in red, back the Fallen of Albaz. Go into Mirror Jade. Main phase, by the way. In this combo, we stay in the main phase, so we can use Mirror Jade. Dumping Brigand. Which honestly doesn't matter. Like, whatever we dump with Mirror Jade is just extra. I just wanted to bounce Lubellion back to my hand. Add Lubellion back to hand. Activate to add Bystial, and then the end phase we can add the Mercurial to our hand. This Mercurial does this is completely unnecessary. This is just BM. And then the Albion will set the Expulsion. And I don't even summon Bystial Magnemute because if I did, and then to search another Bystial in the end phase, like we would actually have a problem with monster zones, because we already have 3 monsters, then we're gonna get 2 more off Expulsion, and then we have a Magnemite on field, and we have to special summon a Bystial that we search, so yeah, I just keep this in hand. So now our opponent is gonna Gold Sarcophagus, banish their Dragon Dart, they're on Thunder Dragons. Add Hawk, normal summon Solar. Solar dump Dragon Roar, and then activate Dragon Hawk effect. We're gonna negate him with Courier. And when they called by the grave, the Bystial that we added back in hand with Lubellion is gonna let us dodge. We have two ways to dodge them called by the grave. We could either use Expulsion or we can use the Magnemite that we added with Lubellion. So, nice. Called by the grave is dodged. Not only that, the Mercurial gets banished. The Snake negate goes off, and we still get the add off it. That's completely necessary. Opponent special summons Chaos Black Dragon Collapse. We're gonna banish with Mirror Jade. When they go into Colossus, enter battle phase, expand Expulsion, sack off the Mirror Jade, special back Albaz and Aluber. Because why not? Activate Albaz effect, dump the card we added off Mercurial. Make Mirror Jade number 2 with their Thunder Dragon Colossus. Yeah, the rare Expulsion sack Mirror Jade into Fallen of Albaz, make a second Mirror Jade directly. Yeah. Yeah, see, I told you, you don't need Gimmick Pug with that setup. So yeah, I've been climbing Master of this deck. I'll have a deck profile soon and like more gameplay of this deck. I just wanted to show off the Expulsion combos that I've been using that I came up with. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And if you want to see all the rest of the combos for Brand and Bystial, I have an in-depth combo video that should be on the screen here too.